This was the final trading day of this calendar year, and with that we bring an end to 2018. Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. We've had a very quiet day, a very quiet last day of the year. However, I do want to take a note of all those stocks which are buzzing in trade through the course of the year, and the ones which were advancing and the ones which fell. Let's start off with the Nifty, and well, the stock that stood out was Bajaj Finance, advancing by around 50%. 40% gains for the likes of Tech Mahindra and Tata Consultancy Services, with HUL not too far behind with gains of around 32%. Infosys and Kotak Mahindra also advancing by around over 24 to 25%, and Bajaj Finserv not too far behind. On the losing end, it was perhaps a disappointing year for Tata Motors, followed by Yes Bank down around 42%. Bharti Airtel, HPCL and Vedanta, among others. So commodities didn't necessarily have a great year. Moving on to your broader markets, when it comes to the NSE 500, perhaps things are even more interesting. So if you compare the returns of the Nifty 500, that's actually declined by around 3.4% in comparison to 3% gains for the Nifty, which means that your broader markets indices have not done as well as your benchmark indices. However, Merck advancing by 140%, except Crop Care, one of the unusual ones, and very quiet ones too, advancing by around 82%. NIT Technologies, VMart Retail, Vinati Organics, and L&T Technology Services. All of them we have spoken about on Bloomberg Quint and the reasons behind the gains too. And we will be keeping an eye on how they do in 2019 as well. On the losing end, there are no surprises here. In fact, all four of these stocks which are losing were largely on account of governance issues, which include something like Vakrangi, 8K Mass Software, INFS Transportation Networks, of course, on account of the shadow bank crisis that the year saw, PC Jeweler and Manpasan Beverages, along with Jayaprakash Ventures, Power Ventures, also declining by around 78%. But with this wrap of 2018, we move into 2019. What can we make of this upcoming year? Let's bring in our co-head of research, Yatin Mota, to give us an idea about what we can expect as we move in over the course of the next week or so. Yatin, what are we watching out for now, and what do you think is going to be the most exciting this year?
You know, Agam, as you mentioned, a lackluster day, a lackluster week. In terms of last 5 trading sessions. Of course, the FI participation usually, declines because of holidays in the last, 1 week of December, and probably that is what has happened. Volumes were quite weak in today's trading session, but probably the markets are quite hopeful that in 2019 we could have a better year for the broader markets. Last year, in fact, if you look at the, companies with market capitalization above 1,000, probably there were only 3-4 companies which gave in, strong returns or multi-bagger returns, if I may put it so. So, the activity on the broader market remained quite muted in 2018, and the market participants are hopeful that in 2019, there could be some action in the mid-cap space. Of course, we conducted a poll of nearly 27 market participants, including fund managers, market expert, analysts, head of researches, and clearly, at the lower end of the markets for 2019, they expect the Nifty to be 9,500, 10,500 on the lower end. Probably, if there is something wrong with the general elections, that is the range that they're looking at. And on the higher end, 12,000 to 13,000 is the kind of levels that most of the market participants are watching out for as of now. Earnings recovery is expected to be strong in 2019, according to the analysts that we polled. Of course, tomorrow we'll again present a series of the survey outcomes which are there. You can also visit our website bloombergquint.com in order to look at the entire survey metric and how really our market participants looking at 2019. But probably it's a quite muted trading session, and probably as we move into 2019, the action should begin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yatin, thank you for joining us and getting us that perspective with respect to our markets. But what about technicals? How are they looking like? Well, we have market expert Hemen Kapadia to take us through the levels that you need to watch out for. Hemen, the Nifty is at around 10,862, just shy of 10,900. How are you reading these cues?
I think a small period of consolidation. Agam, the OI seems to suggest 11 and 11.2. I think maximum OI is currently at 11,200.
Right.
So I think last settlement wasn't possible, but this settlement maybe after a couple of trading sessions, I think a serious attack at 11,000 and possibly in this settlement. I'm not saying immediately, but this settlement is a long one till 31st Jan.
Right.
So I have a feeling we could be on course to take out 11,000 finally and go towards 11.2. Having said that, extreme near term for a couple of days, I think a small cool off seems to be in the offing. Some of the daily, hardly mechanical indicators have signaled to sell. So maybe a 70, 80 point, maybe a 100 point decline in the Nifty starting from tomorrow itself cannot be ruled out.
Okay, and you would say the same for the Bank Nifty too, Heyman?
I think the technical charts are very similar. They are almost mimicking each other. The only thing was the rollovers in the Nifty were good. The Bank Nifty rollovers were very weak. We had 16% OI addition on Friday, right. And as of now data is showing 28%. We'll look at the final data at 5:30. So, but we've seen OI addition. So I have a feeling that weak rollovers are somewhat being made up. So, but yes, coming back to main question, similar outlook for Bank Nifty, minor pressure.
Okay, Heyman, thank you for joining us and taking us through the levels that we need to watch out for. And perhaps one stock that we can address in today's day of trade on account of not necessarily the changes, but do want to address Marico. Now, Marico was in focus today earlier in the morning because copra minimum support prices were increased from nearly 7,500 rupees per quintal to around 9,500 rupees per quintal. But it really didn't have too much of a reaction on the stock, and I'll tell you why. Because we have seen copra prices come off from around 14,000 rupees per quintal to currently somewhere about, well, 10,500 to 11,000 rupees per quintal. The fact that even the current price is still away from the new minimum support price for copra, it really doesn't have as much of an impact on Marico as well as perhaps some market participants were making it out to be. But well, we have to mark this, and we have to also pay attention to some of these cues, especially given the fact that copra has such a big chunk of your total inputs going into Marico as a company. Besides that, there are plenty of other stocks which are also in focus, and they will keep buzzing based on the kind of volumes that we've seen towards the buying as well as selling. But on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of the Market Wrap, the final one in the year of 2018. But we'll see you tomorrow in a new year. Until then, it's goodbye, but keep watching Bloomberg.